Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for March 22nd. We are looking at the U.S. Japanese yen pair. This particular pair, we are expecting it to or have the potential to move as high as 97.00, possibly as low as 93.20. Look for some resistance around 96.61. Look for some support around 93.96. This pair did create an inside bar Friday. I believe it is moving sideways, but the bias is definitely to the downside. Looking at the Euro USD pair, this particular pair also formed an inside bar on Friday. I do believe it has a upward bias, but is moving sideways currently. We are expecting this pair to move potentially as high as 138.59 and possibly as low as 133.99. Now look for some resistance around 137.50 and look for some support around 135.00. Now switching to the pound US dollar pair. There we go. This pair also created an inside bar on Friday's session. We are expecting it to potentially move as high as 147.40, and we're looking to the downside around 42.13. Now look for some resistance around 14600 and look for support around 143.69. This pair definitely has a bias to the upside. Now switching to the US Swiss. There we go. This pair also created an inside bar on Friday. We are expecting it to break to the downside, but we do have a possibility of it moving as high as 113.96 and possibly as low as 110.65. Look for some resistance around 113.08 and look for some support around 111.50. Now let's take a look at kind of what I'm looking at during this next session. The real big the big trade I'm looking at, or the trade I'm looking at here, is in the U.S. Canadian dollar. It formed an inside bar on Friday. As you can see, it also formed a doji bar on Friday as well. So we have an inside doji bar, which is definitely a mixture for a breakout. So we're looking for a buy order at 125.03 and looking to exit this particular trade at 126.03, and that's a 100 pip move, and we're going to use a risk to reward ratio of 1:1. So we're basically looking for it to head up to around this level, which I definitely think will occur if it does decide to move to the upside. We have a nice window of opportunity. We haven't quite hit the previous support that would now be resistance before our exit. I just think all around, if this pair decides to move higher, that this is a really good trade. There are several other inside bars out there to definitely take a look at. In the four majors, of course, we already talked about. The U.S. Canadian, which we're looking at, and of course the Australian U.S. dollar also created an inside bar. You may want to take a look at those. Now the Euro Swiss had a swing trade. You take the low here and the low here, and you draw your trend line. We're going to have a potential short. It is a good ways from the market at 151.98 and looking for it to move lower. However, if you zoom out a little bit, you'll notice we have these two areas of previous resistance that will now become support, and they're fairly close to where your entry would be. It's definitely potential for a scalp. If you want to grab 25 to 30 pips, look for a break of the trend line. When you create the trend line, look for a break of it. Just keep in mind that you have, this session's high and you have this session's high. So definitely keep an eye on that. If it breaks through, we could get a run to it. Well, that about does it for for today. We don't have any news announcements going into this next session. Monday's going to be a fairly quiet day, at least from the news front. Well, that about does it for this time. This is Jason Fielder. Good trading.